Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Happy Friday as Rúben Amorim has done his press conference for Bournemouth. Another Monday night game and I'm very much looking forward to it. Was the Wolves game just because it's Wolves and they're a really poor Premier League side, or can we kick on? Bournemouth had a bit of a wobble recently and Rúben Amorim has been talking. He's been talking about will the AFCON players be available? Got a huge update on that. Also, injury news. It's not looking good for Ligt, which is a big blow for us, really. It's really unfortunate. We thought Ligt was going to be back. He's not going to be back for this Bournemouth game. An update on Sesko as well. And, as you can see by the thumbnail, it says Amorim Slam because I thought it was only right that I brought in what Paul Scholes has said on Rúben Amorim. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'm loving the Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes podcast at the moment. Paddy McGuinness getting involved as well. I really enjoyed listening to it. And I've seen it do the rounds this morning. Paul Scholes thinking that Rúben Amorim is not the right man for Manchester United. And I just want to kind of bring the quotes to you guys and see what you have to say on that, because it's the really interesting quotes and he's not held back at all. He really kind of gets into Rúben Amorim in these quotes. So I want to kind of get your opinions on that. But of course, first we will cover all the news coming out of the press conference. Rúben Amorim feels confident. He seems quite happy, but also maybe a little bit frustrated with the fact that he doesn't actually know who's going to be available on Monday night for this really important game against Bournemouth as we enter the very busy Christmas period. But everyone, happy Friday. Thank you very much for getting involved. As always, smash a like on the video. Get your comments going. I'll read them out as well. Let's get interactive. But thank you everyone for tuning in. So let's start off with the team news that is coming from Rúben Amorim. So he said this. He said, Maguire is out. De Ligt is out. Benjamin Sesko, we have to see if he is available. He's had some food poisonings, but we have 2 trainings still. So with Benjamin Sesko, I saw Samsey Reports actually do a report early this week on this, that he could be back way earlier than what we thought he was going to be back. He was eyeing up this Bournemouth game for his return since he has had a little bit of food poisoning. So whether he'll make it for Monday, we're not sure. But this is really good timing. I hope he gets better soon as well. Nobody wants food poisoning, do they? I mean, you really don't want that. But it's good that he's actually getting back fit and he could be ready to play very soon for Manchester United. Start off on a positive. With Mbeumo and Ahmad going to AFCON pretty soon, they'll be leaving for a few games for Manchester United. So we'll be short on attackers. I know Ahmad plays right wing back, but he's very much an attacking style player. So we'll be short. And Benjamin Sesko adds something different into that front line. He's an out-and-out striker. I don't think we've seen anywhere near the best of him yet. So it'll be great to have him back in the mix, especially when we're short of forward options. And you never know, people might not like it because there's not much pace there, but if you're struggling in a game as well, you could play Sesko and Xerxes together. Xerxes does often like to drop back. You'd need some pace in and around it, but it gives Rúben Amorim some options. So hopefully Benjamin Sesko is better and can at least be on the bench against Bournemouth. It is Monday night, so hopefully he's better by then. Food poisoning usually goes within 24 to 48 hours if it's not too bad. With Maguire being out, that's expected. I don't think he's expected back until the Newcastle game. If he's back before that, then great. But last time I heard, it was the Newcastle game we're expecting Harry Maguire back. I actually think it's gone under the radar how much we've missed Harry Maguire. I know he's not an out-and-out starter for Manchester United, but he's coming really clutch in some important moments for us. And honestly, it's not the way I'd like to go out and win a game of football, and it seems like a temporary fix rather than a long-term fix. But if he was available for that Everton game, for that West Ham game, he really could have come up with something last minute because he's done it multiple times before for us. He's a good presence to have in and around both boxes, whether that's defending your own third, offset pieces, which is sometimes an area of weakness for us in terms of defending them. He can do that for you. You never know. We might have not conceded the equaliser against West Ham. You never know in football, but it gives you a better opportunity to win the game. It gives you a better chance. And of course, in the opposition's box, he's come in clutch multiple times. So Maguire being out is still a bit of a blow for us, but that's expected. He does kind of have these injury spells where he's out as he's moved into the later stage of his career, which is unfortunate because he could be a real plus for us if we had him fit. And then De Ligt, I think, is the most frustrating one because when he originally got injured a couple of games ago, Amorim said he expected him to be back for the next game. I think it was after Palace. He said he expected him to be back, but he's been out. So I think Amorim goes into a little bit more detail, saying it's something with his back that is an issue for him, and hopefully it doesn't keep him out too long, because you really don't want a stop-start season for Ligt. He had a brilliant start to the season, one of our best players. I know United have conceded quite a few goals, and we've not been as good as we would have liked to be our overall performances, but I don't think you can take away anything from how good Ligt's been. It's a team game. You've got to defend as a team. And Ligt has been a leader at the back. He's been super solid. He's been one of the best defenders in the league, in my opinion. So you really don't want to see him go through a period now where he has to be out, because it felt like he'd arrived at Manchester United. It felt like he had his rhythm back. So out of all the injuries we've got, for me, Ligt is the most frustrating one, and he's a really, really key player. When you talk about the first names on the team sheet, Lamens, Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes for Rúben Amorim, I think Ligt is in that category. He's someone that absolutely will be starting under Rúben Amorim and is the heart of that defence. That being said, Aiden Heaven had a cracking game against Wolves. I thought he really settled in. I think Yoro's form picked up over the last 2 games. I understand, Wolves isn't the best opposition to gauge where you're at, but Aiden Heaven might well get another opportunity on Monday, and it's great to see young players getting that opportunity and taking it. So hopefully Aiden Heaven can step up and have another good game, and that would do a world of good for his confidence as well. And Rúben Amorim's put that faith in him, put that trust in him. So let's see. Sigger says, Beth, what is our best 3 in the back with Maguire and Ligt missing? It's really, really difficult. I thought Lisandro Martinez did really well when he came on in that central centre-back role against Wolves, but it's really hard to gauge against Wolves. I'd probably say it's, we don't even know if Mazraoui is going to be available, but I'd probably say it's Luke Shaw, Martinez and Mazraoui. But if Aiden Heaven can emulate the performance that he had against Wolves and continue to kick on, there's no reason why it can't be Aiden Heaven in the middle. It could be either Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Aiden Heaven and Mazraoui. I think Mazraoui's our best right-sided centre-back. I think at the moment, Shaw is our best left-sided centre-back, but Lisandro Martinez is such a top player, and I thought he had a brilliant cameo when he came on against Wolves. I struggle, though, to give players credit against Wolves. You can only play who you're against, but it's not kind of a good side to gauge. For example, I don't play FIFA at all, but I can imagine this is what it's like. Say if you're playing, here's a good example. Gets to Christmas Day or whatever, the new FIFA comes out in September, doesn't it? Or it gets to Christmas and your family's round and you're taking the mick a little bit on FIFA. So my brother absolutely loves FIFA, playing it all the time. I don't play it. I don't get the hype with it, but people love it. On Christmas Day, when we're, time with the family and he's got it on or whatever, he's like, oh, Beth, do you want to have a game? And I'm like, go on then. He's playing against me. I don't know how to play FIFA. He absolutely batters me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if he plays against one of his mates or one of the cousins comes around who also plays FIFA all year long, you're going to see a much better gauge of how good he is. If he's playing against me who doesn't know how to play and literally just clicks the X button the whole way through, it's going to be very, very easy to batter me. So with Wolves, it's hard to kind of look at that performance and say, oh, Aiden Heaven's brilliant, Lisandro Martinez did amazing when he came on, because as good as they were, they're playing against a team of very poor quality. So against Bournemouth, I think it's going to be a real kind of intel and a real test for these players, whether it is Aiden Heaven who gets the nod, whether it is Lisandro Martinez who gets the nod. Lisandro Martinez, we know he can do it. He's done it before. He's a senior player. He's won the World Cup, for crying out loud. He's a good player, we know that. But we're going to see much more of where they're at. Martinez fitness-wise, is he up to speed, and Aiden Heaven in his development. So I'm excited for that. Gutted Ligt's out, but I'm excited that we get to actually see where these players are at. I do think, though, against West Ham, Aiden Heaven did grow into the game. And when you've not started a game in so long, especially that kind of competitive game, you are going to have a little bit of, a bit of a minute where you need to get up to match sharpness. And he looks really exciting. So let's see. A few people getting their comments in. People talking about Yoro. Do you know what? Yoro completely slipped my mind, guys. Yoro, I think, has got so much ability, and I think he's proved how good he can be. But for me personally, as a right-sided centre-back, I think Mazraoui is just ahead of him currently, just based off his experience and his and recent performances. However, that doesn't mean I don't think Yoro is a fantastic player that's got a fantastic potential. He's very, very young. Just like on the left side, I would say Luke Shaw is above Aidan Heaven, because Aidan Heaven usually plays on the left, just for his experience and recent performances. But I still think Aidan Heaven, like, for the price we bought him, for the age he is, them two could go on and be our starters for the next how many years eventually. But you don't just come into a team at 18, 19, especially when you're a centre-back. When you're a centre-back, you hit your prime around, 26, 27? It's a bit later sometimes for a centre-back. I know Ligt's doing really well now. I think he's 25, 26. But Aidan Heaven and Yoro could be fantastic for us in the future. And they're still really good, reliable players. If they both started against Bournemouth, I wouldn't be sat there thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, they're both reliable players that have a lot of potential. But as of now, I don't think Yoro is better starting on the right than Mazraoui. I think Mazraoui, that's his best position, and I think he's just a little bit better. Centrally, Aidan Evans proved he can do it, and it's only a couple of games, so you don't want to get carried away, but looks good. On the left, I think Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez are really, really good players if they can stay fit in that position. So it's interesting. We've got a lot of depth there. And players go through spells of form. It's only natural, especially at 18, 19 years of age. That is so young for any player. And as a centre-back, it's even younger. So I'm not worried about Yoro or Heaven. I think Amorim is actually managing them players pretty well. I'm going to be so honest. Other players, I would critique his management. Them players, I think he's managing them really well. So let's see who starts again on Monday. But we've got a good range of centre-backs at the moment. I do think we need another one in the summer. But with De Ligt and Maguire being out, two of our better centre-backs, we're still not in a worrisome situation, which is good to see. Whereas if it was, the midfield area, we'd be very, 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 very much in the mud and struggling a little bit. Got some people talking about foot champs and ultimate team. Yeah, I stay away from that sort of thing. Like, honestly, I know people in my family who are absolutely obsessed, like genuinely obsessed. I mean, when they open a pack, it's like weekend or ruined or made or whatever, but yeah, not for me, guys. But I know a lot of you guys love it, and you love Goldbridge's FIFA streams as well. Dayoub says, Queen Beth is shining with the Christmas spirit. Thank you very much. Yep, got my tinsel here on the chair. Could actually wrap it around me, give myself a little scarf. I don't know if that's quite the vibe. What are we thinking? Maybe I'll start a trend. How do I get it back up here? I'm being attacked by tinsel, but no. Does that look all right? Yeah, we'll roll with that. Anyway, let's move on to the AFCON update. I got carried away there with defenders. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and your super chats. Keep getting them in. Amorim on AFCON. This is making me a little bit nervous because, of course, I want Mazraoui, I want Mbeumo, and I want Amad for as long as possible. I think all three of them are in Manchester United's best 11. I think Mazraoui is currently on paper our best right-sided centre-back. I think Amad on paper is our best right wing-back. And I think Mbeumo is our best right-sided 10. So our right-hand side is about to get hit a little bit. We've got players to cover. We do. We're playing one game a week. But I would love them to play on Monday night, which to me I think is a really important game to build that confidence, to get us on a run after a good performance against Wolves. So this is what Amorim had to say on AFCON players. He said, we are still in conversations with the national teams. The game is Monday. They are here and are training, but we are preparing all scenarios for the game. He also went a little bit further on this. He was asked about it again a little bit later on. And he said, I don't know if it's going to be the same situation on AFCON. He said, it depends on the games and every national team has an idea of when they want their players. I expect to know today. So Amorim expects to know today whether he's going to have Mbeumo, Mazraoui or Amad, or maybe one or two of them, or maybe just one of them, or maybe none of them on Monday night. I do think this is such a unfair kind of thing for us, because if I'm correct here, if we were playing tomorrow night, we'd be fine. But because we keep getting these Monday night games, there's a bigger chance that the national teams are going to want their players for AFCON, which is understandable. It's a very credible tournament, and the countries are taking it seriously, as you would expect, and it deserves the respect it deserves the respect it demands. And I wish Ahmad Mazraoui and Mbeumo luck in his competition. It frustrates me that it's at this point in a season because the Premier League is really important to us, but AFCON is huge to them countries and to them players. And I just wish we could have had them for maybe one more game, as long as we can have them, because they're really important players to us. But we knew the score when, you know, you get these players in, that is their background, and that's, you know, they're going to go to these competitions. And also as well, the Premier League's kind of done us in a little bit by putting us on Monday nights constantly. If we had it on a Saturday night, we probably would have had them all available. And people say, oh, it's just one more game, but that could be the difference between 3 points, 1 point, 0 points. Bournemouth are a good side. I know they've had a bit of a wobble recently, but I really want to have them players available because every point matters. Just a little bit more on De Ligt's injury as well. De Ligt has said, Amorim has said on De Ligt, I think he has something in his back. I don't know for sure. He finished the game against Crystal Palace, but sometimes he feels pain and we have to be careful with that. That's a bit worrisome. So he said, I think he has something in his back. I don't know for sure. He finished the game against Crystal Palace, but sometimes he feels pain and we have to be careful with that. That, to me, I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, guys, comes across as an ongoing issue. It comes across as an ongoing back issue. And that's a little bit worrisome. Back pain it can be an absolute killer, especially when, you know, you're playing professional sports week in, week out. So I hope that De Ligt is okay. Like I said, he's suffered with a few injuries in the past, but so far this season he's been fit, he's been available, he's been strong, he's seems to be bulletproof, but he has got injured the last few games, and I just hope it doesn't go into that back and forth of fit, not fit. You know, he's all right today, but then he's suffering the next week. I want De Ligt to be fit and firing. His game is very physical, so it's going to have some sort of impact on him. I get that, but yeah, let's hope we can get him fit and firing as quick as possible because he's such a positive addition for us and such an important player. So yeah, let's see how that plays out. But sometimes he feels pain. Doesn't really fill me with too much hope on that one. But yeah, let's wish De Ligt a speedy recovery because we need him. Amorim got also asked about Mason Mount and his form. As we know, Mason Mount's been performing very well. You don't need me to go into that again. I've spoke very glowingly about Mount over the last few days, and I think we all know how I feel about Mason Mount. He's such a good player, and he's getting some credit with the stats and over social media and everything like that. But Amorim got asked about Mason Mount's form, and he said, I think it's hard to make that connection. It's a fact, a good record when Mount starts. So he got asked about Mount's record and the fact that when Mount starts, the win percentage is higher. We've spoken about this on the show. I think it's 25% win percentage when he doesn't start and around a 71% win percentage when he does start. I'd have to get that completely clarified, but I think that's the case. And Amorim said it's a fact, a good record when Mount starts, but it's not just that. We have to look at the way the game was, but he's a very, very smart player. He's really technical because sometimes to be a technical player is not just having fun with the ball. It's the quality of the pass, the reception, how to receive the ball, and these things. He's really, really smart. He can balance our team quite well, so he is a very good player. And I really like that comment from Rúben Amorim. I'm just double checking the win percentage because I did know it, but I want to get it absolutely correct on there because seeing as he was asked about it as well. So 71% win rate in the league when Mason Mount starts, 25% when he doesn't start. I knew I was somewhere in the region. So what I like about Amorim is he sets the team up depending on who they're playing, and you know, it's a fact that there's a good record, but he's just a very, very smart player, which is what a lot of people are saying. But I like this line a lot. He says sometimes to be a technical player is not just having fun with the ball. It's the quality of the pass, the reception, how to receive the ball. These things are really smart. I like that because he's basically saying it's not just the Hollywood pass. It's not just the fancy flicks. It's not just the fancy assist or the fancy ball. He's in the right space at the right times. He receives the ball in tight areas really, really well. He's intelligent when he's on the pitch, and he basically keeps it ticking. He's not the flashiest and fanciest of players, Mason Mount, but he just keeps the whole team playing well, and he's a very smart player. He's always in the right position. He always knows where to be to receive the ball in the correct position. He makes the right decisions when he's on the ball. He usually always finds a red shirt. He's just a good player, a good quality player, and Rúben Amorim kind of makes that connection, and I like that he kind of sees that in him. And it's interesting as well because Ben Jacobs, if you didn't catch it, on the show yesterday, mentioned about how Kobbie Mainoo's doing training, about not necessarily when he's on the ball, Amorim thinks he's really good on the ball, but about where to be when he's not got the ball, how to close down the passing lanes, where to be on the pitch to prevent counter-attacks. And I think that's something he really likes about Mason Mount, his positional awareness, and not just how good he is on the ball, but his off-the-ball presence and awareness as well. And don't get me wrong, I think Kobbie Mainoo's a great player and I think he should play more football. But it's interesting to kind of make that connection there. Also, Amorim got asked about Bournemouth and Areola. He said, Areola is special, the way he plays the game like a big team, what he's done for some players. He's improving players, and you can look at that team and think of several of their players can play at a high level. So it's an amazing job from the manager. So Amorim basically saying the manager's top tier, which he is. I think Areola's a great manager, and I think he'll go on to great things. I really like his football. I know they've had a bit of a wobble recently, but he plays good football, he plays attacking football, he plays entertaining football. And like you said, if you actually just looked at their squad, you know, you wouldn't think maybe it's the best squad on paper, but he's made a lot of them players a lot better, to the point where a lot of them look like they can go on to bigger things. Not saying Bournemouth isn't a good team, they are, you've got to respect them, but you know, a lot of their players do get poached, like Huijsen last year. Semenyo's now is looking like he's getting poached. It's one of them clubs. So I think Amorim's right in his kind of description. He also said about Bournemouth, I think they are a top team, a top manager with special players. I don't look to their results. I look at the way they face every opponent, and they press really strong. They are really direct in the game. They can play with different options in the front, which gives us a lot of options to work and prepare for the game. I expect a Premier League game that is really tough, but we need to win, especially at home, which is the goal. So I actually think everything Amorim said there is dead on. I really agree with it. They're a brilliant pressing team. Like I said, very energetic. And a lot of people have mentioned, you know, could Areola eventually get the Man United job? And I think he's absolutely good enough. It's just whether he could get a squad of Manchester United's ego side to play the style of football he wants. You know, the energy, the pressing, the work rate that you have to have in an Areola side, it's off the charts. They're going to give us a run for our money. They're a very good side, but they can also be got at. You know, if they push up high, you know, we'd be able to use pace, and this is where Mbeumo would come in really well if he was able to play and he's not yet gone to AFCON, to get him behind, and I think that will be a big option for us. But they're a good team, and we've seen before, you know, they've done us at Old Trafford before. We know that. To me, this is a similar sort of matchup to when, you know, we had the Brighton game earlier on in the season, and this is the same sort of test. The Brighton game is one of my favourite games of the season. We passed it with flying colours. We were cruising in that game, ended up being 4-2, and it really didn't need to be because of, you know, substitutions, but we played well. We played well, and Brighton are a really good team, and that was a test for us because they've done us before and they've done us again. Just a solid Premier League team that plays good football. Bournemouth, for me, are in the same category, and they've done us before. They could do us again, but we need to be able to beat these sides if we really want to compete for Champions League football. And we've got a real good opportunity this weekend as well, because I'm just looking at the Premier League table now, and let me just get it up. So Bournemouth are finding themselves in 13th, which is crazy because they had such a good start to the season, but they've had a slip over the last few games. So the drew to Chelsea 0-0, which is still a decent result against Chelsea, but Everton beat them 1-0, Sunderland beat them 3-2, West Ham Bournemouth was 2-2, and then Villa beat them 4-0, and they've slipped down the table. City beat them 3-1, but before that they were doing super well. They beat Forest 2-0, 3-3 draw with Crystal Palace, beat Fulham 3-1, 2-2 draw with Leeds, 0-0 draw with Newcastle. They like a few draws, Bournemouth, but they can score goals. They really can. There's some really interesting scorelines in there. They're a bit of an unpredictable team, but despite the fact they have slipped down the table due to some poor results, they still play good football, and they're a side that can cause you damage. So we do have to be careful there. But you look at the Premier League table this weekend. Man United are in 6th, right? We get the 3 points from Bournemouth. We're on 28 points. That would put us, if no other team played, that would put us in 4th place. Crystal Palace, right? Crystal Palace have Manchester City this weekend. It's at Selhurst, but we could go against Crystal Palace, who are in 4th. We could get 4th spot. Chelsea are in 5th on 25. They have Everton, albeit at Stamford Bridge. But it's still a tough game. We could be in another position, which we have been on a lot of these Monday night games, where all the other teams play before us, and we have an opportunity once again to go into the top 4. We could be in 4th spot come Monday evening, late Monday evening, Tuesday morning, depending on what happens over the weekend. But we've had this opportunity. We had it before the Everton game. We fumbled it. 10 men at Everton at home, we fumbled it. We had it before the West Ham game. West Ham, odds on to be relegated. At home, we fumbled it. Can we actually take this opportunity? And, I mean, it might not happen. You never know. Palace could beat City at Selhurst. That could happen. They're a very good side. Chelsea could cruise Everton, even though Everton have been doing really well. It might not be in our hands, but if it is in our hands, will United be able to take the opportunity? It's another big mentality test. Martin Gill Lane says, Beth, you're raving if you think Everton will beat Chelsea. I mean, really? Because, yeah, I think Chelsea are odds-on favourites to win that game, but Chelsea, they got beat by Atalanta midweek. It was 0-0 against Bournemouth for them. Leeds beat them 3-1. I know they got that 1-1 against Arsenal with a man sent off, and that's the Chelsea that can arise. But, they got the Chelsea sometimes can slip. Sunderland beat them 2-1. They can slip. Everton are in some good form at the minute. So I wouldn't say that it's absolutely, nailed on that Chelsea win that game. It is at Stamford Bridge, which gives them a massive favour. But, Everton have had some good results recently, and I know they had that slip against Newcastle, but they're not just going to bow down and let Chelsea absolutely batter them. I think it'll be a competitive game. I might be wrong, but I'm hoping that they drop points anyway. Let's see. I mean, actually, where are Everton in the table? Let me double check this. Everton might be right up behind us, to be fair. Oh, gosh, wow. Because we're always looking up the table. Why don't we look down the table who's below us? Yeah, they're in 7th spot. Oh, they're 1 point behind us. It's tight there. So Everton are in 7th on 24 points. We're in 6th and 25. And Chelsea are in 5th on 25 with goal difference. What do we want? Maybe a draw is best there, actually. A draw would put us comfortably up into 4th if City beat Crystal Palace. All if, buts and maybes. Let's see what happens come Monday night, eh? We'll speak about it on the countdown to kick-off, I am sure. Thank you, everyone, for getting your comments in. Callum Montana says, pushing the X all the way through. Tick-a-tack-a Beth. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. On about FIFA. What do you play on, though? Xbox or PS5? That's a question. We are a mixed household. I think my dad has a PS5 and my brother has a Xbox, but my dad's retired. My dad's retired off his PS5. My stepmom's not happy about it. Not happy about it. He'd have to put it away. he'll hate me for saying that. He watches all my shows. Hello. We have some more comments coming in. Abish says, I think Dalot played well against Wolves. Felt weird when he delivered the Trivella. Do you know what? Bit of credit to Dalot. He's had a really poor season, but the last 2 games he's been good. So, when he plays badly, he gets so much stick. When he plays well, let's give him a bit of credit. Like I said, Wolves, it's not the best game to sort of judge everyone on, but let's see if he can continue it against Bournemouth. What you can't knock from him is his work rate, his work ethic, and he'll be training so hard behind the scenes to get back to his best possible form. So let's see if he can keep it going. Last thing I wanted to bring in before I wrap up, we've done the press conference now. I just wanted to bring in this quote from Scholes and get a few opinions from you guys on it. So this is what Paul Scholes had to say recently on Rúben Amorim. He sort of ripped into him a little bit. So he said this: I don't think this manager just gets this club. I don't think he's the right man. Manchester United's about risk and entertainment more than anything, at home especially. Having fans on the edge of their seat, ready to go, wingers who beat people, shots on goal, bits of skill. There's nothing there. That's from the club. We talk about this as a different club. They've got Omar Barada, they've got Jason Wilcox, who are probably brilliant at their job, but they don't have a clue about Manchester United. They're not Manchester United, and they don't know what it's like to bring in a Manchester United player in or bring a Manchester United manager in. If you go to Sporting Lisbon and watch, they play three at the back. Right away, you go, that's a no. Man United never do that. They can't do that. They just can't. It's been proven over years and years and years, and I'm talking even before Sir Alex Ferguson. It was always about 4-4-1-1 or 4-4-2, entertaining people. He hasn't got that in him. He brought on 4 defenders on against West Ham. If we go 1-0 up, the manager always said 2, 3, 4. I remember once we were playing Chelsea. Went 1-0 up and we sat back a little bit. Now, Chelsea were a good team. The manager went absolutely nuts after the game. That doesn't happen here. When you score 1, you go for 2. You go for it every single time. You go for the throw every single time. I just don't think the manager gets it. So, talking about his own playing time there, talking about before Sir Alex Ferguson was here, and just kind of really ripping into Rúben Amorim and his, what he would argue, his pragmatic style. What I would say is I agree with a lot of what Paul Scholes is saying, and I can't hold that back. What I do agree with about Paul Scholes is I agree with the fact that, you know, when you're 1-0 up, you should go for the throat. You should go and try and score 2, try and score 3. That's, as a fan, what I want to see. I understand winning games. I understand sometimes shutting up shop, but we shouldn't do it as much as we do, and I would like to see us play more entertaining football. What I also agree with is the fact that we need to be off our seats when we're at Old Trafford. Our performances have been dire. They have not been thrilling. The only game that I was really off my seat was this season. I'd say 2 of them. The Sunderland game and the Brighton game. 2 games I was off my seat for. To be fair, the Arsenal game was interesting. The first game of the season, we played quite well. But what I don't agree with is, personally, do I want a 3 at the back formation? No, I don't. It's not my favourite formation in football, and it wouldn't be the formation that I choose. However, I do think you actually can play good football with that formation. I just don't think we're seeing it. I think it's harder to do so, and I think you've got to get really kind of tailored players to perform that system to its absolute maximum capacity. But I found it interesting that Paul Scholes actually had, you know, the confidence to come out there and say his feelings from the heart like he did. Look, what he says has a massive impact. It really does. He's an ex-player of Manchester United. He's won a lot of league titles for Manchester United. He's won a lot of trophies. He's arguably the best midfielder of the Premier League era. What he says holds a lot of weight. He's a Manchester United legend. But what he's saying is what a lot of people are saying in the pubs with the friends, on the phone to, you know, the mum, the dad, the family members. A lot of people are feeling this way right now. Do you agree with it? Do you not? I'm in the middle. I agree with a lot of what he's saying. I do think it's a little bit harsh on Amorim just due to the squad that he's got. However, I agree with his in-game management. It's been way too pragmatic. It's not been the Man United way. And I have got concerns whether Amorim truly understands the history of this club in terms of the youth, the academy, and the way that we want to see football be played. Look, I don't think Rúben Amorim wants to go out every week and play boring football that doesn't massively entertain you. I don't think he wants to do that. Nobody would want to do that. But I think he's struggling to get the squad playing football the way he wants it to be played. And look, it's a really difficult situation because on one hand, Amorim might just need more time and he might just need more players that are suited to the way he wants to play in his system. On the other hand, he might just not ever be able to get there at a club of this size and in the Premier League. We don't know what's going to happen because it's been 13 months. I have doubts. I want to see more entertaining football, and I want to see Rúben Amorim. I want to see in-game management really step it up a notch. I agree with all them sort of points that he made. I do think it is a little bit on the harsh side, but I've got to be honest, I love the fact I love the fact that Paul Scholes just says it how it is. I love it. I listened to his podcast with Nicky Butt, and I really like listening to him. And he knows what Manchester United should be because he's been there when it's been successful. He's won everything there is to win. He's won league titles. He's won trophies. He's been there under one of the greatest ever managers of all time. So he can kind of relay his experiences into the current Manchester United. Don't get me wrong. We can't try and be a carbon copy of what we were back then. Football's changed and you can't just hold on to the past forever. There's a way of doing it back then and there's a way of doing it now. But I rate the fact that he kind of spoke from the heart and just said his opinion out there. Maybe it's a bit harsh, but I know a lot of people are feeling very mixed on it at the moment, so I thought I'd bring it into the show. Positives from the press conference, though. Sesko could be back on Monday. Hopefully, we'll still have the AFCON players, but we've not 100% got a decision. And, you know, Bournemouth aren't in their best spell of form as of now, so hopefully we can capitalise on that. Let's kick on from the Wolves game. Let's see some goals at Old Trafford. I've missed the goals. I've missed the goals flowing at Old Trafford. I really kind of want to see them coming in. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good bit of Monday night football. We have Andy Moore says, I hate everything about the way we play at the moment. It's boring. I watched United versus Not Forest the other day, 98-99. We were winning 4-1 in the 70th minute. Fergie brought Ollie on and it ended 8. Rob Taz says, some of the ex-player pundits have chips on their shoulders when they make harsh comments about Amorims and managers. Somehow they think they can do a better job if given the role as the United manager. Paul Scholes has not said he could do a better job if he was given the role as the United manager. He said his opinion as a Manchester United fan and ex-player. I'm sure it hurts him to see a club that he's won a lot of things with and he supports not at the standard that he thinks it should be at. And I think everyone's entitled to an opinion. This is exactly the cards that Amorim has been dealt by Glinios, Beth. Martin says, Sesko, in fairness, has been playing well in the build-up, just not scoring. That will come. And Dexter King says, when are we going to stop restarting projects and get managers what they need to implement their styles of football? It took Arteta 3 years to start doing what he's doing. People seem to forget that. I'm not going into that Arteta argument again. You can't just stick with someone because you're tired of not sticking with people. You've got to make sure you are at least sticking with the right philosophy, the right manager, and someone who you believe will be successful in time. You can't just think, I don't ever want to change manager again, so let's just hope it goes well. Like, you've got to have some sort of evidence that this can work. Hopefully with Amorim it can. I really want it to. So far, don't see so many signs. But I really hope that this time next year we're sat here saying, oh, thank God we did keep him. You know, when he went through that little spell, thank God we did stick with him because, yeah, there was a lot of suffering, but in the end it turned out really well. We're playing good football, we're improving, and this is the guy. I hope it happens. Anyway, smash a like on the video, everyone. Away says, entertainment plus 15th or boring football and Champions League football. So entertainment plus 15th or boring football and Champions League football. I don't think that has to be necessarily, like, I don't necessarily think that has to be one or the other, to be honest with you. I really don't think it does. Because I don't think it does. I think you can be an entertaining team and still have Champions League football. Why is that so hard to, why can't you have both? Why can't you expect both? And there's teams out there that do both of them things. I don't want to harp back to it, but for me, I think Aston Villa play very much entertaining football and they're in line for competing for a Champions League place. Why can't, as a Manchester United fan, have the standards to at least be, you know, I eventually want to compete for Premier League, but why can't I at least expect a bit of entertainment and to be competing for Champions League? Look, I'm not expecting absolutely bells and whistles every single game. I'm not expecting a 5-goal thriller every single game, but just something to get you off your seat every other game or so. Just a little bit more. But anyway, guys, I've got to wrap up because tonight on That's Football, it's Union Berlin versus RB Leipzig. Live match, so you're watching the match on the screen, live match footage all the way through with me and Maud watching it along with you. It's a studio watch along for That's Football, our first one for the Bundesliga. So make sure you come and join us. We need all the support we can get. We want all you guys to come and join us this Friday evening. We will be live at 7:15, so make sure you tune in on That's Football. And then tomorrow at 8 p.m, it's Mark's Bournemouth preview show on the United stand, of course, for Manchester United. On Monday, Manchester United versus Bournemouth with countdown to kick-off starting at 6 p.m. We can go through the weekend results and how that affects us in our hunts for Champions League football. And then Tuesday at 2 p.m, we have Rob Dawson from the ESPN going through all of the Manchester United latest news and some inside scoops on Amorim and his situation at Manchester United. So make sure you are there with us throughout this weekend and into the beginning of next week. But most importantly, 7:15 tonight on Bundesliga. Please, guys, if you are free, come and show your support. Anyway, I've got to love you and leave you now. I've been going on for way too long for a press conference reaction. But thank you, everyone, for watching. And hopefully, I'll see you later.